What's up, guys? So the market has been moving up lately, and I think it's super uncalled for. I think the market is completely ignoring the fact that there's huge unemployment rate. I think that the market is completely ignoring the fact that the earnings reports for these companies are extremely shitty. But I digress. This is for another video. Today, we're talking about SUNCOR. SUNCOR is my favorite oil stock and actually my second favorite Canadian stock to buy. And here's why. So, a little bit about the company. SUNCOR is actually the largest integrated energy company in Canada, and it's the fifth largest oil company in North America. SUNCOR is really known for being the first to actually develop the oil sands in Canada, but they also produce oil offshore, so outside of Canada. At the same time, they own 4 of the largest refineries, and, which is honestly my favorite part about this company, they own 1,500 Petro-Canadas. So they have a straight pipeline to retail. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty, the financials. See you guys on my computer.
So, how are Suncor's balance sheets these days? First of all, this company is pretty large. It has a market cap of $36.23 billion. And it also gives away free money, which is pretty great. What I mean by free money is their dividend yield. Their yield is 7.03%, which is pretty good. Their share price at the moment is $23.70. Okay, the market is still open again. Their high of in the 6-month chart is $45, and then it went all the way down to $15. And I'm pretty stoked because I bought around this area. Okay. Now second of all, we can see that their cash flow. Let's go ahead and see this. Their cash flow shows us signs of growth. Okay. Let's see here. In 2016, their net cash from operating, which is how their money they make from actually operating the business, 2016 was $5 billion, and today is $10 billion, which is pretty good. Okay, it shows us that they're managed well financially. Now let's look into their balance sheets. Here we have the balance sheets. And we can see that the Suncor's total assets, which is $89 billion, totally trumps Suncor's total liabilities, which is $47 billion, which is a great sign because it shows that the company is not drowning in debt, but it actually has a lot of assets to help it weather through storms like the storm that we're in right now. But let's dig deeper into this, okay? Their current liabilities, and what current liabilities means is the amount they have to pay within the next 12 months is $10 billion. That's their total current liabilities. That's how much you have to pay in the next 12 months. And their total current assets, which is the money they have right now to pay those bills is $9 billion. Which is, you know what, pretty alarming, because if all hell breaks loose and it couldn't pay its bills, then it would have to sell some of its non-current assets, okay? And considering the situation today, it will be pretty hard to sell, as its cost of production is higher than its sale price, but it can definitely sell its vast properties to make ends meet, okay? Right here, vast properties, okay? And their vast companies that they have to go ahead and make ends meet until this craziness ends. And again, if this is not enough, it always has the cash cow of Petro-Canada. As again, I said in the beginning of the video, they own 1,500 Petro-Canadas, which is a straight pipeline to the consumer. And it is also a great thing to have as an asset in these times, because the assets that Petro-Canada has can help Suncor through the storm if they really needed it, okay? Third of all, you guys know how much I hate when companies buy back their own stock. When a company buys back their own stock, it doesn't benefit the company at all. All it does is increase artificially the share price to help higher executives receive higher bonuses, which is, to me, stupid, because they can just, again, give it to employees and encourage their employees to work harder and increase their business. It doesn't do anything but give the CEOs and executives higher bonuses. If we look at this Excel sheet that I made over here, we can see that the net cash from operating is $10.421 billion, okay? And I also put in here the common stock repurchase, which is $2.274 billion, okay? Let's do a little math. I actually did it for you guys already. The total percentage, let me see here, make it a bit bigger. the total percentage, okay, of their net cash that went to common stock repurchase is 22%, which I'm not really happy about. This is probably my least favorite part about Suncor. But again, we can single them out because a lot of other companies are doing so, okay? A lot of other companies are buying back their shares. And at the same time, they have a pretty strong balance sheet. So it doesn't excuse them, but it kind of lets them go with a little slap on the hand because they have a lot of assets to back themselves up if again they needed that money that they bought in repurchases. So regardless of the stock repurchase, Suncor has a very strong balance sheet, okay? And I can bank that Suncor will not go bankrupt because again, they are just too strong, okay? Because they're so strong and they have a strong balance sheet, Suncor should be grateful, and this is from a business perspective, okay? Suncor should be grateful for the current pandemic that is happening right now. Again, business perspective, okay? And you may ask why? Well, simple, because this pandemic has affected the oil sector extremely hard. A lot of smaller oil companies are not able to make ends meet and are or will be on the verge of bankruptcy. This is the golden opportunity for Suncor. Suncor is known, okay, to buy companies at their weakest points, like now, and add them to their balance sheets to help them weather the storm. And when it does, that company will be profitable for Suncor. And because of these acquisitions, they will then add those companies to their balance sheets and continuously grow their company like so. This just shows an infinite possibility of growth for this company. If you take any advice from me, take this. You need to invest in companies that are growing in the long term, okay? Companies that will be profitable in the long term. And by them buying other companies, it is a really good sign that they are going to be profitable in the coming years. Here is an article. I know it's a pretty old article. I think it was posted last year. But let me show you what they bought last year, some of the companies. Suncor has been an active buyer of oil sands assets. It purchased Syncrude, partner Canadian Oil Sands Limited, for $6.6 billion and then spent an additional $937 million to buy a stake from Murphy Oil, thus boosting its ownership in the mining project from 12 to 54%. So they spent all this money, correct, but they boosted their ownership in the mining project by almost 40%, more than 42%, which is crazy, okay? Continuing over here, they also bought Calgary-based Cambridge Energy Inc. for $52 million. They took a 37% stake. Listen, there's companies that grow by growing their own company, and there's companies that grow by buying other companies, which grows their own companies. And this is a perfect way of doing it. Okay? Because your balance sheet is this strong, you should be going ahead and buying other companies that are struggling and almost on the verge of bankruptcy. I love to invest in companies that are conscious of the fact that with time, technology and consumer demand changes. Every year, there is an increasing demand for renewable energy. It's getting to the point where 30% of the demand for power or energy in 2023 will consist of renewable energy. Okay? As you can see here, every year, the demand for renewable energy is going up and up and up and up and up. Okay? Which basically means that people are understanding that they need to decrease their carbon footprints. Just look at this chart and see the increased projected demand for renewable energy, okay? I personally believe that there will come a day where renewable energy will completely trump oil and other polluting sources of energy, okay? I want to show you guys a little article here. Suncor is doing all that they can to invest in their future, okay? I found this little article on their investor center that explains their continued investments in R&D in the renewable energy sector. You always want to invest in companies that are conscious of where their industry is heading and act as pioneers, okay? So Suncor and our partners, look right here, are involved in 4 operational wind power facilities. These wind power facilities have generating capacity of over 100 megawatts, which is just a lot, okay? Suncor is doing a great job with their efforts of not getting left behind in the ever-changing energy sector. So growth is definitely a priority for this company, okay? On another bonus point, the famed and extremely credible Mr. Warren Buffett, okay, has stakes in SUNCOR. In fact, and by the way, I hate the Motley Fool. I think they just advertise whatever they want. I just don't like them, okay? I think their information is completely false, but this is a fact that they can't really falsify, okay? Last year, his holding company, Berkshire Hathaway, reported a $10.8 million stake in the company. That puts Berkshire's ownership level close to a 1%. So that means Berkshire Hathaway, which is the company that Warren Buffett invests through for his clients, owns almost 1% of all of Suncor's company, which is pretty ensuring for me myself, because if I'm seeing a pretty large shark like that, actually the largest shark in the game in my opinion, it just gives me insurance that the company is at a right point right now where bigger investors want to invest in it, okay? And actually Warren Buffett completely advocates the whole oil sector and believes it's going to be a very, very important part of our economy in the future. I think that renewable energy is going to trump it a bit, actually a lot more than what it is right now, but we'll have to see about that. Also, just for peace of mind, this alone doesn't allow us to decide whether to buy or not. So never actually make a decision whether you put your money in a stock or not if somebody else is doing it, whether it's Warren Buffett or whether it's me. It just gives us some insurance, but you should really do your own due diligence.
So will I be buying and when? And if you've been following me by now, you know that I'm extremely bearish on this economy. I think that unemployment rate being this high just shows that people are not going to have money because they're not working to spend in the economy. I think earnings reports being this shitty, I think the global economy being just in turmoil right now, I don't think we're going to come back to where we are just right away. Even if we open the economy, people don't have the money and people are still scared, and the economy is just not going to pick back right up right away. It's going to pick back up at a point, but not right away. So in my opinion, I will wait till May 5th, which is the earnings report. A lot of you guys have asked me in my Air Canada video when the earnings report was. So for Suncor, it's May 5th. I will be buying around then. Hopefully it goes to $19. That's really my sweet spot where I want to start buying in, and I'm going to buy every single dip after that. I do think that the market will go back down heavily because the market is completely ignoring everything right now. So as always, thank you for watching. I'm going to leave a quote at the end. See you in the next video.